My name is Terence, 38. I'm standing at the altar, my tie choking me, her smile flickering like a candle caught in a draught. The room hums with laughter, glasses clinking, but something's wrong, like a chord struck off key. My brother, face flushed whiskey glass, sweating in his hand, keeps staring at her. She flinches when he leans in, his breath heavy with liquor, whispering something I can't hear. Nobody else notices the way her shoulders stiffen, the quick glance she throws my way. I do. My pulse hammers a dull thud in my chest, but I swallow it, telling myself it's just the day, the pressure. The vows are coming, the weight of them pressing on my ribs. I want to believe in this moment in us, but his shadow stretches long across the floor, darker than it should be. If you've ever felt something break inside you, something you couldn't name, stay with me. The reception hall smells of Lily's spilled wine and the faint tang of polished wood. I'm shaking hands, my smile tight, the band playing a soft jazz tune that feels too light for the weight in my chest. Her bouquet is crushed against her chest, white petals falling like unwanted snow. I catch her eye across the room, and her laugh is brittle, a sound that doesn't reach her eyes. My brother's at the bar, his tie undone, voice booming over the chatter, his hand resting on her arm too long. She shifts, trying to step back, but he leans closer, his words slurring thick with intent. I'm trapped, pinned by a cousin's rambling story about fishing trips we never took, his breath sour with beer. My chest tightens like a belt pulled too tight, and I feel the room tilt slightly, the edges blurring. I hear him say something about old promises, his tone sharp like he's digging up a debt. She nods quick, her eyes on the floor, her fingers twitching like she's fighting to stay still. I tell myself it's just him, drunk and loud, that it's nothing. But my hands are fists in my pockets, nails biting into my palms. I think of a night years ago when she mentioned a favor. He did her something vague about a rough patch. I didn't ask then, didn't want to know. Now it's a splinter in my mind, sharp and unyielding. Terence, my best man, claps my shoulder, pulling me toward a table of co-workers, their ties loosened, their laughter too loud. His grin is wide, but his eyes are tired, shadowed, like he's carrying a debt of his own. "You okay, man?" he asks, his voice low, barely cutting through the music. I nod, mutter something about nerves, but my gaze drifts back to her. She's still by the bar, her shoulders stiff, her smile gone, replaced by a tightness around her mouth. My brother's hand hasn't moved, his fingers curling slightly possessive. I start toward them, weaving through guests, their faces, a blur of smiles and small talk. A woman in a blue dress stops me, her perfume sharp gushing about the flowers, the vows. I nod, barely hearing my pulse, a steady drum louder now, impossible to ignore. I'm close enough to see the way her fingers twist the stem of her glass, the crystal catching the light, throwing flecks of color across her wrist. Her voice cuts through sharp low, "You don't get to decide that." His laugh is low, mean, like he's holding a secret he knows she can't escape. I think of that favor again, the way she brushed it off when I asked, her eyes avoiding mine. I should have pushed, should have demanded the truth. My jaw locks, and I feel the weight of every eye in the room, expecting me to be the groom, the happy one. I want to grab her, pull her away, but my feet stay planted heavy as stone. Terence is back, his hand on my elbow, his voice urgent. "You look like you're about to bolt, man." "Everything good?" I force a laugh, say I'm fine, but my eyes are on her. She's slipping toward the patio doors now alone, her hand brushing her face like she's wiping away something I can't see. My brother watches her go, his smile crooked, triumphant. I take a step, then stop, the room closing in the air thick with something I can't name. I push through the patio doors, the night air cool sharp against my sweat-damp shirt. She's leaning against the railing, her silhouette etched against the string lights strung across the trees. Her hands are empty, the bouquet gone, probably left on a table, inside petals scattered like forgotten promises. I step closer, my shoes loud on the wooden deck, and she turns, her eyes red but dry like she's fought the tears back. She doesn't speak, just looks at me, her gaze heavy like she's waiting for me to say the wrong thing. I want to ask what he said, what he meant by old promises, but my tongue feels thick, useless. Instead, I stand beside her, my hands gripping the railing, the metal cold biting into my palms. The music from inside leaks out a muffled pulse that feels distant, wrong, like it belongs to someone else's night. She shifts her shoulder, brushing mine, and I catch the faint scent of her perfume. Something floral, too delicate for the tension between us. "He's always like this," she says, her voice low, almost to herself, like she's unraveling a knot she's carried too long. Always pushing, always wanting something. I wait, hoping she'll say more, but she stops, her lips pressing tight. My mind churns, pulling up fragments, her late-night calls with him, before we got engaged, the way she'd hang up quick when I walked in, her eyes darting away. I thought it was nothing, just family, just him being him. Now I'm not sure. I open my mouth to ask, but her hand touches mine quick, like a warning shot. "Don't," she says, her voice sharp, cutting through the quiet. "Not here." I nod, but my gut twists, a slow churn that feels like betrayal. The door swings open behind us, and Terence steps out, his face flushed, maybe from dancing, maybe from drinking. He's holding 2 beers, the bottle sweating, and offers me one. I shake my head, and he shrugs, setting it on the railing, the glass clinking softly. "You two okay?" he asks, his eyes flicking between us, lingering on her. She forces a smile, says, "Just needed air," but her voice is tight, like she's holding something back. He nods, but he's looking at me like he sees the crack in my calm. He starts talking about work, some deal that's falling apart, his voice too loud for the stillness out here. I barely listen, my eyes on her, the way she's staring at the deck, her fingers tracing the grain of the wood, like she's counting the lines to stay steady. The band shifts to a faster song, and my brother's laugh cuts through sharp grating like a blade on glass. I turn, see him, through the doors, surrounded by cousins, his hands waving, a fresh drink spilling slightly. He's not looking for us, not yet, but I know he will. I feel her tense beside me, her breath catching a small sound that hits me harder than it should. "He won't stop," she whispers so soft I almost miss it. I want to tell her he will, that I'll make him, but the words stick heavy in my throat. Instead, I feel the weight of every moment I let pass tonight, every glance I ignored, every question I didn't ask. Terence is still talking, oblivious, his voice a drone against the night. But I'm not here anymore. I'm watching her, watching him, and something in me is cracking like ice under too much weight, ready to give. The dance floor is alive with swaying bodies, the lights casting long shadows that twist across the polished wood. I'm back inside, my hand on her elbow, guiding her toward the center, her skin cold under my fingers, her steps hesitant like she's walking on thin ice. My brother's voice cuts through the music, loud, jagged spinning, a story about a fishing trip we took as kids, one I don't remember. He's holding court aunts and uncles, laughing their glasses raised, but his eyes keep finding her sharp, unblinking, like a predator tracking prey. Her arm tenses under my grip, and I want to pull her closer, shield her from his gaze. But my feet feel anchored heavy with something I can't shake. We start to dance, her hands light on my shoulders, her touch barely there, like she's afraid to commit to the motion. Her gaze keeps flicking toward him, quick, nervous, and the band plays a slow song, something mournful I don't recognize. The room feels too warm, the air thick with perfume sweat, and the faint bitterness of spilled champagne. I lean in, my voice low, barely audible over the music. What did he mean out there? She shakes her head quick, like she's swatting away a thought. It's nothing, she says, but her fingers dig into my jacket, betraying her words. I don't believe her, but I don't push, not yet though. Every part of me wants to. He's moving now, weaving through the crowd, his drink sloshing over the rim of his glass, staining his cuff. He stops a few feet away, his smile wide, but wrong, like it's painted on. Mind if I cut in? He asks, his voice too loud, drawing eyes from nearby tables. The room shifts, conversations, pausing guests, watching their faces, curious, expectant. She freezes, her hands dropping to her sides, her breath catching. I open my mouth to say no, to shut this down, but she steps back, nodding slightly, her eyes on the floor like she's afraid to refuse him. My stomach churns a slow, sick twist as he takes her hand, pulling her into the dance. His grip is too tight, his laugh too sharp, and I stand there useless, my pulse pounding in my ears, drowning out the music. I move to the edge of the dance floor, my eyes locked on them, my hands shaking. He's talking, his mouth close to her ear, and she's nodding, her face blank like she's somewhere else. I catch the glint of her earrings, the ones he gave her last Christmas, small gold hoops catching the light. They feel like a claim now, a mark I didn't see until tonight, and it makes my skin crawl. A cousin claps my shoulder, says something about the party being a hit, his breath warm with wine. I barely hear him, my eyes on her on the way. Her shoulders are rigid, her steps mechanical. My hands are in my pockets, clenched, trying to hold on to something solid. Inside, something's coiling tighter, a spring pressed too far, ready to break. The music slows the beat, dragging, and my brother pulls her closer, his hand sliding to her lower back, too low, too deliberate. She doesn't push away, but her body is stiff, her spine straight, like she's holding her breath to keep from shattering. I stand at the edge of the crowd, my tie loosened, my shirt clinging to my skin, damp with sweat. The guests swirl around me, their laughter distant like I'm hearing it through a wall. I want to cross the floor, pull her back, claim her as mine, but my legs are led. My mother's voice echoing in my head from years ago, always telling me to let his behavior slide. Her voice cuts through now, sharp from behind. Don't make a scene, she says, her hand on my arm, her nails digging in a warning. He's just drunk. I look at her, her face tight, her eyes pleading for me to keep the peace, to maintain the facade she's built around him our whole lives. She's always done this, smoothed over his edges, made excuses for his temper. My throat burns, and I nod, but it's automatic, not agreement. I turn back to the dance floor, and he's whispering again, his lips too close to her ear, his words lost in the music, but heavy with intent. Her eyes find mine wide, desperate, like she's reaching for something I don't know how to give. I take a step forward, then stop, her mother's grip still on me, her presence a weight I can't shake. The song ends, and he lets her go, but not before. His hand brushes her waist, slow, deliberate, like he's leaving a mark. She walks toward me, her steps quick, her face pale under the makeup, her eyes avoiding mine. She passes me without a word, heading for a hallway off the main room, her heels clicking fast on the floor. I follow, my heart thudding, the crowd's noise fading behind me. The hallway is dim, lined with empty chairs, their cushions sagging, the air cooler, but heavy, like it's holding its breath. She's leaning against the wall, her hands pressed to her face, her shoulders shaking just slightly. I stop a few feet away, unsure, my voice low when I speak. What's going on? It cracks, betraying me. She doesn't look at me. You don't get it, she says, her words sharp, like I failed her already. I step closer, but she holds up a hand, stopping me cold. He's never let it go, she says, her voice dropping to a whisper, trembling. That money he gave me years ago, he thinks it means he owns me. My chest tightens, anger and shame twisting together, a knot I can't untie. I should have asked sooner, should have seen the way he looked at her, the way he always lingered too long. I open my mouth, but she cuts me off. You can't keep acting like this is fine. Before I can answer, I hear his footsteps, heavy, uneven, the floor creaking under his weight. He's in the hallway now, his shadow stretching long across the wall, distorted by the dim light. You two having a private party? He says, his voice thick with liquor, his smile crooked, dangerous. She flinches, a small movement, but it hits me like a punch. I step between them, my hands clenched, my body a wall, but I don't speak. His eyes lock on mine, daring me to move, to break the silence. I don't. The quiet is thick, pressing against my ribs, and I feel the weight of every second I let pass, every choice I didn't make. The hallway feels narrower, the air stale, like it's been trapped in the walls too long. My brother's still standing there, his breath sour with whiskey, his eyes glinting with something dark, unreadable. She's behind me, her breathing shallow, and I feel her hand brush my back light, like she's anchoring herself to me. I want to turn to check on her, but his gaze holds me heavy, like a chain. The band's music drifts in a slow waltz, its notes mocking the tension in the air. I take a step toward him, my voice low, steady, despite the storm inside. Back off. He laughs a sharp bark and leans closer, his finger jabbing the air between us. You don't know her like I do, he says, his words slurring, but deliberate, each one landing like a stone. My stomach drops a sick lurch, like I've missed a step in the dark. I glance at her, expecting her to deny it, to fight back. But she's staring at the floor, her hands twisted together, her knuckles white. My throat tightens, and the room feels smaller, the walls pressing in the air too thick to breathe. What's that supposed to mean? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel, but it's a lie. He smirks, steps closer, his shoulder brushing mine, the contact deliberate. Ask her about the summer before you proposed, he says, his voice low, taunting. Ask her what she needed me for. I turn to her, my pulse loud, a drum in my ears. Her face is pale, her lips parted, but she doesn't speak. The silence is worse than his words, cutting deeper, sharper. I think of that summer, her late nights out saying she was with friends, the way she'd avoid my eyes when she came home, her hands fidgeting with her keys. I pushed it down, then buried it, told myself it was nothing. Now it's rising cold and sharp, like a blade I didn't see coming. Tell me, I say, my voice cracking, betraying me. But she shakes her head, her eyes wet, not meeting mine. He laughs again, softer, crueler, like he's won something. She came to me, he says, his voice dropping almost a whisper, intimate in a way that makes my skin crawl. Desperate crying. I gave her what she needed. My hands clenched, nails digging into my palms, and I feel something inside me fray, a rope stretched too thin, ready to snap. I want to hit him, to make him stop, but my body won't move, frozen by her silence, by the weight of what he's saying. Guests are spilling into the hallway now, drawn by our voices, their faces curious, then uneasy, their whispers like static. My mother's among them, her lips tight, her eyes pleading with me to stay quiet, to keep the family intact. She steps forward, her voice small but sharp, cutting through the haze. It wasn't like that, she says, finally looking at me, her eyes fierce but fragile. It was just money. I was broke, and he helped me. Her words feel hollow, like they're hiding something heavier, something I'm afraid to touch. My brother snorts, his eyes flicking to her, dismissive. Keep telling yourself that, he says, and takes a step toward her, his hand reaching out, fingers splayed. I don't think, just move my body between them, my chest tight with something I can't hold back anymore. The crowd gasps a sharp intake of breath, and I feel their eyes, but all I see is her, the blood starting to trickle from her nose as his fist connects, the sound wet, final, like a door slamming shut. Her head snaps back, the crack of his fist against her face echoing in the hallway, a sound that stops time. Blood runs down her chin, bright, stark against her pale skin, and she stumbles, her hand catching the wall to keep from falling. The crowd's murmurs swell, a low hum of shock, but nobody moves, their faces frozen in a mix of horror and fascination. My brother stands there, his hand still raised, his eyes wide, like he's surprised by his own violence. I'm rooted to the floor, my arms heavy, useless, my mind blank, except for the sight of her blood, a thin line pooling at her collarbone. Her eyes find mine, glassy, searching, and I see something break in them, something I didn't know she carried. I want to reach for her, to pull her away, to undo this, but my body betrays me, locked in place, my breath caught in my throat. Guests crowd closer, their whispers sharper now, a woman gasping, her hand over her mouth. I recognize Marjorie, an old friend, her eyes wet with something deeper than pity, like she's seen this kind of pain before. My mother pushes through, her voice sharp, calling my brother's name, but he doesn't move. He's staring at her, at the blood, and for a moment, I think I see regret flicker across his face, a crack in his armor. Then it's gone, replaced by that same crooked smile, like he's daring me to react, to give him an excuse. I can't look at her anymore, can't face the way her hand shakes as she touches her nose, smearing red across her fingers, the sight burning into me. My chest feels hollow, like something vital has been ripped out. His words keep circling, "You don't know her like I do," and I hate how they fit, how they fill the gaps. I ignored her late nights, her silences, the way she'd changed the subject when I asked about him. I want to demand the truth, to make her explain, But the words won't come, stuck behind a wall I built myself. My mother grabs my arm, her grip bruising her voice, a harsh whisper. Don't make this worse. Worse. The word lands like a stone-heavy final. I look at her, at the way she's already rewriting this moment, making it my fault, his fault, anyone's, but hers for letting him fester all these years. I pull away, but I don't move toward him or her. I'm caught the weight of every eye in the room, pressing down their judgment, a physical thing. Her voice breaks through, small but steady, saying his name. You're done. She says, her words thick with blood, and something harder, something I haven't heard from her before, a strength I didn't know she had. He laughs, but it's weak, like he's trying to convince himself he's still in control. He takes a step back, his hands up, mocking surrender, but his eyes are still on her, still claiming something I can't see. I want to scream, to tear him apart, to make him feel the weight of what he's done. But all I feel is a cold spread, something breaking inside me, something I can't name. Her bloodied hand drops to her side, and she looks at me, not him, her eyes empty, like she's already gone somewhere I can't follow, a place I didn't know existed until now. The hallway feels like it's closing in the air, thick with whispers and the sharp coppery tang of her blood. I'm still standing there, my hands useless, her eyes locked on mine, empty, but pleading, like she's waiting for me to fix this. My brother's smirk is a blade cutting deeper than I thought possible, his presence a weight I can't shake. I don't think, just move, my legs carrying me toward him, my hands grabbing his jacket, the fabric rough under my fingers. His laugh dies as I drag him toward the exit, the crowd parting their faces, a blur of shock and curiosity. His weight resists his feet dragging, but I'm stronger, my grip unrelenting. The glass doors swing open, the night air hitting us cold, unforgiving, the stars sharp overhead. Outside, the parking lot is quiet, the gravel crunching under my shoes, the sound loud in the stillness. I shove him against the brick wall, not hard but enough to make him stumble, his shoulder hitting the rough surface. His eyes narrow, but he's still grinning, like this is a game he's played before. You're making a mistake, he says, his voice low, taunting, his breath sour. She's not what you think. I don't answer. Just hold him there, my hands tight on his collar, my breath steady but burning like I'm swallowing fire. I want to smash his face, feel his jaw give under my fist to make him feel the pain he caused her. But I don't, not yet. Instead, I lean in, my voice barely above a whisper, each word deliberate. You're leaving, now. He laughs, a hollow sound, and tries to push me off, his hands weak, uncoordinated. I don't budge my body, a wall, my mind clearer than it's been all night, like a fog lifting. I see her face again, the blood, the way she looked at me like I was her last anchor in a storm. I let go of him, step back, and point to the darkness beyond the lot, where the streetlights fade into shadow. Go, I say, my voice flat, final, no room for argument. He hesitates, his eyes searching mine, looking for a crack, a weakness. He won't find it, not tonight, not after what he did. He straightens, adjusts his jacket, the motion slow, deliberate, like he's trying to reclaim control. He spits on the ground, the sound wet, sharp, and turns his steps unsteady, his shadow stretching long as he walks into the dark. I watch him disappear, his figure swallowed by the night, the sound of his footsteps fading. My hands are shaking now, adrenaline draining, leaving a hollow ache in my chest, like I've lost something I didn't know I had. I turned back to the hall, the light spilling out through the glass, the music still playing, a cruel reminder of what this night was supposed to be. But everything has changed, and I feel it in my bones. I push through the doors, the crowd's eyes heavy, their whispers louder now like a tide pulling me under. She's not in the hallway anymore. I scan the room, my pulse quickening, my breath shallow. I spot her near the bar, a cloth pressed to her face, Marjorie beside her, murmuring something, her hand on her shoulder. I start toward them, my steps deliberate, each one feeling like a choice. I'm making for the first time, a line I'm drawing. The weight of the night is still there, but it's different now, like I'm carrying it, instead of it carrying me, like I've stepped into a version of myself I didn't know existed. I reach her at the bar, the cloth she's holding, now spotted with red, the fabric crumpled in her grip. Marjorie steps back, her eyes soft but guarded, like she's seen this kind of pain before, lived it maybe. The music's still going, some upbeat tune that feels wrong, grating against the rawness of the moment. I touch her shoulder, light careful, and she flinches, then relaxes her hand, dropping the cloth to her lap. Her nose is swollen, the skin around it purpling, a bruise blooming like a storm cloud. Her eyes are steady now, locked on mine, and I see something new in them, not just pain, but a quiet strength. I'm sorry, I say the words, feeling small, inadequate, like they can't hold the weight of what's happened. She shakes her head, her voice low, almost a whisper. It's not your fault. We move to a quieter corner, the bar's edge away from the crowd's stares, their eyes like needles. She sits, her dress creased, the blood stain darker now, a shadow on the white fabric. I kneel beside her, my knees pressing into the hardwood floor, the grain rough under me. What did he do to you? I ask, my voice calm but firm, like I'm pulling a thread that might unravel everything we've built. She looks away, her fingers tracing the edge of her glass empty, now the crystal catching the dim light. It was alone, she says, her words careful, measured like she's stepping around something fragile. I was 22, out of work, about to lose my place. He gave me 5,000, no questions. But he never let it go. Said I owed him more than money. My jaw tightens, but I keep my face still, listening, letting her words sink in. I see it now, the way he'd linger at family dinners, his comments too personal, too pointed, the way he'd watch her when he thought I wasn't looking. I thought it was just him, his arrogance, his need to be the center. But it was more, always more, a thread woven through years I didn't see. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, not accusing, just needing to understand. Her eyes meet mine, sharp, almost angry, like I've touched a wound. Because you'd look at me like you're looking at me now, she says, her voice cutting the truth in its stinging. I've been blind, not just tonight, but for years, letting the signs pile up ignored. I stand, my hand on her chair, steadying myself, the wood smooth under my palm. The room feels different, the air clearer but heavier, like a storm's passed but left its mark. Guests are starting to leave, their coats rustling, their voices low, careful, like they're afraid to break the silence. I catch Marjorie watching us, her expression unreadable, her hands clasped tight. I nod a silent thanks for staying close, for seeing what others didn't. I turn back to her, My voice quieter now, steady. He's gone. He won't touch you again. She nods, but her eyes are distant, like she's not sure she believes me, or maybe herself. I don't blame her. I haven't earned that trust yet, but I will. I take her hand, her fingers cold but firm, and lead her toward the back exit away from the crowd, their whispers fading behind us. The night outside is still, the stars sharp against the black, the air cold enough to bite. I feel the weight of what's coming, the questions I'll have to ask, the truths we'll have to face, the life we'll have to rebuild. But for now, I've made a choice, one I can't take back, one I don't want to. I close the door behind us, the music fading to a dull hum, and it feels like shutting out a version of myself I don't need anymore. The night air lingers on my skin as we step back inside, the warmth of the hall hitting like a wave, heavy with the scent of wax and wilted flowers. Her hand is still in mine, her grip loose, like she's not sure whether to hold on or let go. The crowd has thinned tables, littered with half-empty glasses, crumpled napkins, a single fork balanced on a plate's edge. The band plays on softer, now uncertain, like they're waiting for permission to stop. Eyes follow us, quick glances that dart away. When I look back, their silence louder than words. I feel their judgment, their questions, but nobody speaks, nobody dares. We sit at a corner table, her dress crumpled, the blood-stained dark, a jagged shadow against the white. She's staring at her hands, folded tight in her lap, her knuckles pale, like she's holding herself together. I want to say something to fill the quiet, but my words feel too big, too fragile, like they'd shatter the air. My mother approaches, her heels clicking sharp on the floor, each step deliberate. Her face is a mask, lips pressed, thin eyes cold, like she's already decided the story. "You've ruined this," she says, her voice low, cutting like a blade slipped under the skin. "For everyone." I don't answer, just meet her gaze, my chest tight but steady, like I'm standing on new ground. She's always done this, turned his failures into someone else's burden, rewritten the truth to keep the family whole. I see it now clearer than ever, the way she's woven his excuses into our lives, a tapestry of denial. I want to tell her that, to make her see the cost, but I don't. Instead, I shift closer. To her, my wife, my shoulder brushing hers, a small claim. She doesn't move, but her breathing slows, like my presence is enough, even if just for now. A waiter passes his tray, clinking, the sound sharp in the quieting room. I catch Marjorie's voice across the hall, calming a group of cousins, their whispers too loud, too eager. She's good at that, smoothing edges, but her eyes keep finding me, heavy with something unspoken, maybe her own history, maybe just understanding. I nod at her, a small gesture, and she nods back, then turns away, her shoulders squared. The air feels thinner now, like the room's holding its breath, waiting for what comes next. My phone buzzes in my pocket, a message from Carl, my lawyer friend who was at the head table earlier, his tie askew, his eyes sharp. "Call me. This could get messy." I don't open it. Not now. I know what he means. My brother's not done. Not with her, not with me, not with the story he'll spin. She shifts her chair, creaking, and looks at me. Her eyes tired, but clear, like she's seeing me for the first time tonight. I didn't want this, she says, her voice barely above a whisper, each word heavy with regret. Not on our day. I nod my throat tight, because I didn't either, but it's here undeniable, ours to carry. I see the bruise forming under her eye, faint but growing a mark that feels like my failure too. I should have stopped him sooner, seen the way he hovered, the way she shrank from him. The guilt sits heavy, a stone I can't move, not yet. My mother's still standing there, her arms crossed, her eyes demanding I fix this, apologize, make it right. But I don't. I look at her, then away my gaze settling on the empty dance floor, the lights casting long, lonely shadows across the wood. The band's packing up now, their movements slow, deliberate, like they're trying not to draw attention to the wreckage. I feel her hand brush mine under the table, a small fleeting touch, and it's enough to keep me here in this moment even as the world I knew starts to slip away. Her touch lingers, then slips away, leaving my skin cold like the night air followed us inside. The room feels emptier now, the last guests drifting toward the exits, their coats slung over their arms, their steps hurried like they're escaping something. My mother hasn't moved her shadow, stretching long across the table, her silence louder than her words, a judgment I've felt my whole life. I don't look at her, can't not now. Instead, I watch the way the light catches the edge of her glass, half filled with wine she hasn't touched. The liquid catching the dim glow like a trapped sunset. Her shoulders are hunched, her breathing steady but guarded, like she's waiting for the next blow. Carl's message burns in my pocket, a weight I can't ignore but don't want to face. I know what's coming. Talk of lawsuits, maybe assault charges, or worse, him dragging her name through the mud over that old debt, turning it into something uglier. I picture him in a bar somewhere, his voice loud spinning a story where he's the wronged one, and it makes my teeth grind my jaw tight. I glance at her, her face half hidden by her hair, the bruise under her eye darker now, a shadow that feels like it's spreading. We should go, I say, my voice low, almost swallowed by the hum of the air conditioner, its drone steady in the background. She nods slow, her movements careful, like she's moving through water, each gesture measured to avoid pain. We stand, her dress rustling, the blood stain a dull smear now like ink on a page. The hall feels too big, too hollow, the table scattered with abandoned plates, a fork left balanced on a napkin, its tines glinting faintly. Marjorie catches my eye as we pass, her mouth opening like she wants to speak, then closing her lips tight. She hands me her jacket, a small gesture, and I take it, draping it over her shoulders, the fabric soft against my fingers. Call if you need me, she says, her voice soft but firm, like she means it. I nod, but I don't know if I will, don't know if I can. Outside, the car is waiting, the driver, leaning against the hood, scrolling his phone, oblivious to the weight of the night. I help her into the back seat, her movements slow, careful, like every step costs her something. I slide in beside her, the leather cold against my legs, the car smelling faintly of cigarette smoke and air freshener. The driver doesn't ask questions, just starts the engine, the hum filling the silence, steady, unyielding. I look at her, expecting her to speak, to say something, but she's staring out the window, the city lights streaking across her face, painting her in fleeting colors. My hand hovers, wanting to touch her, to bridge the gap, but it falls back to my lap empty. At home, the apartment is dark, the air stale, like it's been holding its breath all day. She kicks off her shoes, leaves them by the door, their heels scuffed from the night. She heads straight to the bathroom, and I hear the faucet, the soft splash of water, a sound that feels too normal for what we've just left behind. I stand in the living room, my jacket still on my tie, loose, dangling like a noose. My phone buzzes again. Carl probably, or maybe work where the gossip's already spreading a wildfire. I can't stop. I don't check. I walk to the couch, sit and stare at the coffee table. A scratch on its edge, catching the light, a mark I never noticed before. The faucet stops, and the silence grows heavy, like dust settling over everything. I sit, my hands empty, the night pressing in, waiting for me to move, to speak, to do something. I don't. I just wait, the quiet louder than anything I could say. The apartment smells of coffee and damp laundry, a mix that feels heavier than it should, like the air's carrying the weight of the last 3 weeks. The bruise under her eye is fading now, just a faint shadow, like a smudge you'd miss if you weren't looking for it. I'm at the kitchen table, a notepad open, my pen, scratching out numbers, bills, rent, the lawyer's retainer, each figure a reminder of what we're trying to leave behind. We're meeting Carl tomorrow to talk about settling the loan, to keep my brother from dragging us into court, from turning his failure into our burden. My hand pauses, the numbers blurring my eyes, tracing the grain of the table, worn smooth from years of use. I don't want to think about him, but he's there, a splinter in my mind, sharp, unyielding, his face flashing every time I close my eyes. She's in the living room, curled on the couch, with a book she's not reading, the pages untouched for an hour. I watch her through the doorway, the way her fingers trace the spine, slow, deliberate, like she's anchoring herself to something solid. We've barely talked about that night, not really. Just fragments, half sentences, like we're both afraid of what might spill out if we push too hard. I stand my chair, scraping the floor, the sound too loud in the quiet. She looks up, her eyes catching mine for a moment, then drifting back to the book, like she's not ready to meet me there. I want to ask how she's feeling, if she's okay, but the words feel too big, too raw, like they'd break something fragile between us. I walk to the sink, fill a glass with water, the tap sputtering before it runs clear, the sound steady grounding. The window above it looks out on a brick wall, a sliver of sky, just visible at the top, gray and heavy with clouds. I think about the old apartment, the one we left behind last week, with its wide windows and morning light. This place is smaller, cheaper, a necessity now, with the extra shifts I'm taking, the hours stretching longer to cover what's coming. The move was quiet, just us packing boxes, no music, no rush, each item wrapped carefully, like we were protecting something we couldn't name. It felt like a choice, not a surrender, but some days it's hard to tell the difference. My phone sits on the counter screen, dark, silent. No messages from my mother, not since her last call, her voice tight, accusing, saying I'd torn the family apart, that I'd chosen wrong. I didn't argue, just hung up, the click of the call ending louder than any response I could have given. I take a sip of water, the glass cold against my lips, the liquid sharp, clean. The stillness settles, not heavy, but real, like the air's waiting for me to decide what comes next. I look at her again, her head bowed over the book, her hair falling across her face, and I feel the space between us, not wide, but there, like a crack in the ground we're learning to step over. I set the glass down the clink, soft against the counter, and walked to the living room. My steps slow, deliberate. She's still on the couch, the book closed now, resting on her lap, her finger still on its cover, like she's holding on to something she doesn't want to lose. The lamp casts a warm circle around her, softening the room's edges, making the space feel smaller, safer. I sit across from her on the floor, my back against the wall, the carpet thin, rough under my hands. It feels right, grounding, like I'm part of this moment, not just passing through. "You want tea?" I ask, my voice quiet, not pushing, just offering. She shakes her head, a small smile, flickering, then gone like a spark that doesn't catch. "I'm good," she says, her words light but carrying something heavier, something we're not ready to name. I nod, leaning my head back, staring at the ceiling, a thin crack running through it barely visible, like a secret the house keeps. I think about tomorrow, the meeting with Carl, the papers we'll sign to end his hold over her, to cut the last thread he's woven into our lives. It's just money, I tell myself, but it's more years of his shadow, his demands, his voice lingering in the corners of our home. I've started writing things down late at night, when the apartment is quiet, thoughts I never said out loud. Not about him, not even about her, but about me. What I let slide, what I ignored, what I thought was strength, but wasn't. The pen feels heavy, but it's mine, each word a step towards something clearer, something I can hold. Terence called yesterday, his voice different, softer, like he's shed something too. He apologized for pushing me about his own problems that night, for adding weight when I was already carrying too much. He offered to help with moving costs, a small gesture, but real. I didn't say much, just thanked him, but it felt like a door opening, just a crack enough to let some light in. I don't need everyone to understand, not anymore. Don't need their approval or their pity. I look at her, her fingers still on the book, her breathing steady, calm. We're cooking together tomorrow, something simple, maybe pasta, the kind we used to make when we were first dating, laughing over spilled sauce, the kitchen warm with it. It's not a fix, not a solution, but it's a start, a rhythm we're finding again step by step. I stand, my knees stiff from the floor, and walk to the window, the glass cool under my fingers. The street below is quiet, a single car passing its lights, cutting through the dark, fleeting. I rest my hand on the sill, the wood worn smooth from years of touch. I don't need to say anything, don't need to prove anything. The stillness isn't empty, it's full, heavy, with what we've carried, what we're letting go, piece by piece. I turn back to her, and she's watching me, her eyes clear, like she sees me, really sees me, for the first time in a long time. I breathe out slow, and the room holds it like it's enough, like it's all we need for now. The morning light cuts through the blinds, sharp and thin, painting stripes across the kitchen floor, the wood scuffed from the move. I'm up early, coffee brewing, the machine's hum steady, a small anchor in the quiet. My name is Terence, 40 now, and I move slower these days, not because I'm tired, but because I'm noticing things, the way the light shifts, the sound of the neighbor's dog barking, the weight of my own steps. The loan's paid off, the paper signed months ago, a weight lifted but not erased, like a scar that's healed but still pulls when you move. She's in therapy twice a week, her steps lighter when she comes home, her laugh starting to sound like it used to, soft but real, like a song I'd forgotten the words to. I don't ask much, just listen when she talks, her words coming easier now, less guarded, like she's finding her way back. I'm at the counter, slicing an apple, the knife steady, the blade catching the light as it cuts through the crisp flesh. The sound is clean sharp, and I stack the pieces on a plate for her, arranging them carefully, like it matters. She's still asleep, the bedroom door ajar, her breathing soft, even a rhythm I've come to know. I don't wake her, don't need to. Instead, I sit at the table, my notebook open, the pages filled with more than just numbers. Now thoughts, fragments, things I didn't know I needed to say. I write about the small things, the way the light hits the wall at noon, the sound of her humming in the shower, the way I don't check my phone every hour anymore, waiting for bad news. It's not about fixing things, not about erasing what happened, but about seeing it clearly, holding it without letting it hold me. Work's different now, quieter. The rumors about that night faded, but I don't talk as much with the guys at the office. Don't feel the need to fill the silence with jokes or stories. I keep my head down, focus on the job, let the rest fall away. Terence, my old friend, stops by, sometimes brings takeout, talks about his new project, his voice lighter than it used to be. I nod, smile, but I don't owe him explanations, don't need to justify my choices. My mother hasn't called in a year, and I don't expect she will. Her silence a wall I don't try to climb anymore. The family I thought I needed feels smaller now, just her and me, and it's enough, more than enough. I stand, stretch my back stiff from the chair, the muscles tight from long hours at work. The coffee's ready, and I pour a cup, the steam curling up warm against my face, the smell grounding me. I walk to the window, look out at the street, the same one I've watched for months. Its cracks and stains familiar now. A kid rides by on a bike, wobbling, his helmet too big, slipping over his eyes. I smile just a little and let the moment sit heavy, but not crushing like a stone, smoothed by water, worn down, but still solid. The coffee's gone cold in my hand, but I don't mind the mug's weight. Familiar, its handle chipped from a move we didn't plan right. She stirs in the bedroom, the floor creaking as she gets up, her socks soft on the hardwood, a quiet shuffle. She appears in the doorway, her hair messy, her eyes still heavy with sleep, but softer, like the edges have worn down. She sees the apple slices, picks one up and takes a bite, the crunch loud in the quiet, a sound that feels like a small victory. "Thanks," she says, her voice soft, like it's just for me. A gift I don't take lightly. I nod, my throat tight, not with pain, but with something else, something steady, something I'm learning to trust. I think about the scar on her nose, faint now, almost invisible, unless the light hits it just right. A reminder that doesn't define us, but hasn't left either. It's not gone, and neither is what happened, but it's not the whole story anymore, not the only thing I see when I look at her. I used to think strength was keeping things in, holding the line, letting the world think you're fine, untouched. I was wrong, so wrong. Strength is saying what needs saying, even when it's just one word, one choice, one moment where you step forward instead of back. I chose her, chose us that night, and I'd do it again, no question, no hesitation. The cost was high, family trust, pieces of who I thought I was, but what I gained was heavier, realer. something I can hold in my hands and know it's mine. She sits across from me, her book tucked under her arm, the pages worn from being held, not read. We don't talk, just share the quiet, the clock ticking, its sound small but steady, like a pulse keeping time. I don't need to fill the space with words anymore. Don't need to prove anything, not to her, not to myself. What happened that night, it broke something, but it built something too, something solid, something we're still shaping. I carry it not as a weight, but as a marker, a line I drew, for myself, a choice I made when it mattered most. I look at her chewing slowly, her eyes on the window, now the light catching her face, and I know we're here together in a way we weren't before, in a way I didn't know we could be. What do you carry that you haven't said out loud? What's the choice you made when nobody else would? If this feels like something you've lived, something you've buried, let it sit with you for a while. If you're still here, hit that like button, maybe subscribe, share it with someone who gets it, someone who's been there. Thanks for listening, for staying with me through this. This is Terence signing off, just grateful you're here.